It's the Weekly Wrap with your host, broadcasting legend Bruce Wolf, and his trusty sidekick, comedian Timslagle. And now, without further ado, Bruce Wolf.
Bruce Wolf, Timslagle on the Weekly Wrap, and now my favorite part of the show, wherein we discover what's in Tim's background. And I'm going to think you got a turkey that dropped from the sky from WKRP in Cincinnati about 45 years ago, and it's still fresh. What am I right?
Yeah, you're pretty warm.
Okay.
Well, there's definitely a turkey here.
Oh, no question about it. 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
I'm here for the pardoning, the annual pardoning of the turkey,
Sure.
which I think is like the stupidest tradition. It just, I mean, come on, like they're not going to eat turkey. They're going to have a tofurkey for dinner for everyone in the White House. Come on, they're still going to kill a turkey. I mean, what's...
Yeah, right. Who would have been our most? I think even Obama would have eaten a turkey, right? I'm trying to think who's our most radical leftist.
Yeah, he's probably
president.
the closest to vegetarian president we've ever had. But I mean, he's a smoker, so
yeah, which was great. Which was, I mean, really the saving grace for him, that he was a smoker and a golfer. I mean, everybody talked about how he's playing too much golf.
Well,
I thought he didn't play enough.
I don't know. They stopped letting cameras on the field because his golfing was subpar.
Oh yeah. He wasn't too good. Not at all. Anyway,
he was better at pitching than he was at golf.
right. In his mom jeans, I guess he could have played on the golf course in his mom jeans as well. So what we're recording this on the eve of Thanksgiving, and I don't know how this Israeli hostage deal is going to come down, but it's I mean, it looks like it's gonna. The concern, of course, is that the momentum will then be to keep the ceasefire, and I mean that's the last thing I want. I don't want to ceasefire. I know Israel doesn't want to ceasefire, and we're gonna.
So it's going to be a 4-day ceasefire. Is that what I heard?
Well, right, but I mean the whole point is the momentum. I mean,
yeah,
you got to give Hamas credit. I mean, they know how to play this game. Except it seems like, and from what I've heard, my sources, of course, that Israel really shoved it down their throats, and it was a pretty successful military campaign so far. So Hamas had to do this. So I don't know. I mean, there's no way that Israel is going to let Hamas be reconstituted somehow. It just can't happen.
It's probably the first war in history where the enemy got to call a timeout.
When you play, I mean,
unauthorized hostages on the field.
It reminds me a little bit. I mean, I hate to compare anything to this, but it used to be the Republicans when we would nominate a Mitt Romney or a John McCain, we play by the Marcus of Queensberry rules, and Obama and their ilk, of course, took the lesson from the Untouchables. They bring a knife, you bring a gun, and that's and Israel fights with two hands tied behind its back and still tries to figure out a deal.
And still wins.
So I was heartened because I saw that my alma mater, Northwestern, decided in Deering Meadow, where there's a library there, where I think a couple of weeks ago they had the Palestinian colors up, and they had all these demonstrations, that they actually did have something honoring the hostages. There were empty chairs there for the Sabbath. So I know they're trying to have it both ways at Northwestern, because they are kind of like the University of Qatar satellite campus, but I'll take it because I want to root for those crazy cats to get in a bowl game. Oh yeah. I will say, however, that the Dickensian named president of the university, Schill, said that at first he was really weak-kneed about this, but now apparently Northwestern is going to have some kind of committee to study anti-Semitism. So there was a sop thrown to the Jews that way. But there were some dissenters from that, some certain student groups, one of which was the Northwestern Band Clarinets Leadership. He didn't know that there was a, well, I'll have you that I went out on a blind date 50 years ago with a clarinetist from Northwestern University. She wasn't exactly in the band leadership, but all I'm saying, and then we got married, and we have 5 kids and 8 grandchildren since. But I'm glad we got out of there just in time, apparently. So because the leadership of the clarinet, I don't necessarily see the nexus to politics for clarinetists, but
comedian friend of mine, Mary Mack, has a line. She says, "The only use for a clarinet is if you hit a deer and don't have a tire iron."
I'll tell you, I mean, one of the great things that attracted me to the girl that I wound up marrying was that she was she was a great clarinetist, and I tried to play that instrument in grade school, and I got challenged. They have these challenges in band, and I was like the 3rd row clarinet, and there isn't a 4th row, and the 5th chair guy challenged me, the 4th chair guy, and beat me. So I thought, hey, this is great because I'm going out with a top shelf clarinetist. So I demur with from your assessment of clarinetists.
Now, Deering Meadow, is that the field that just got rezoned, or am I confusing something?
No, you're thinking of. I love your sweet ignorance of Northwestern. It's Ryan Field is the football stadium that they're going to build a new stadium for. Meantime, there's some other university. I don't know. All I saw on the tweet was that it was called University Hall. It was occupied, by the Palestinian sympathizers, and it's occupied right now. I wouldn't say shoot to kill them, but I'd say kick them out at least. No. The dean brought burritos out to these kids because they were, you got to have a snack or a full meal for that matter. As a matter of fact, I was thinking, you're not familiar with Devontae Adams, the wide receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders. He did a Taco Bell endorsement, and he asked for a Taco Bell in his own home, which is pretty funny. So, I mean, they should have had a Taco Bell set up, at least a kiosk, so they wouldn't be limited to burritos at this university. I mean, just terrible. Did you see that this female rabbi, and when I say female rabbi, both female and rabbi should be in quotes because I think it's some transgender rabbi.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah. And he wears
she.
I know it.
Yeah.
Well, she wears a yarmulke.
Well, I mean, it's
apparently, he might be able to fool the liberals on the college campuses, but he's not fooling God.
Well, right. I mean, if he's wearing do the female rabbis wear yarmulkes? I'm not sure. I mean, I always thought that was.
That's all I saw. When I saw the yarmulke, I said it's like God ain't gonna fall for that.
Oh, I would hope not.
But God still wants his head covered.
Anyway, you're always going to find the collaborators with the Nazis, and the useful idiots, and she is one, whatever sex she prefers to have. Meanwhile, our esteemed Senator Durbin, of course, said there should be a standard of conduct for the military operations in Gaza. Thank you, Senator Durbin, who also, if you recall, was recently pushing Supreme Court ethics rules, and then the Supreme Court more or less just slapped together, put it under one aegis, the rules they already had. And but we'll do that. We'll do that, Senator Durbin. Maybe we just throw a Star of David, slap it on the Supreme Court ethics rules, and we could put it under your nose, and you'll be fine with that.
The irony is, I believe he voted against the insider trading rules for the Senate.
Okay, there you go. Well, arbitrary and capricious. I believe is the law firm that he was at before he became a senator. So they're calling this deal temporary conditional pause, and so I paused for a second to try and parse that. Is that like a modified limited hangout, H.R. Haldeman? I mean, it's a temporary conditional pause. Okay, well, whatever. I mean, it's whatever they want to say. The now, as we're speaking now, this just happened today, so we don't have the all the evidence, but that shouldn't stop us because we're doing a podcast.
We're the podcast with no evidence, I believe.
Right, we're the evidence free. The Rainbow Bridge from Niagara Falls. Slowly I turn step by step, inch by inch. Is it a terrorist or what happened there? We don't know as of this recording, but you're the tinfoil hat guy, Tim. So what happened? Just tell me.
Well, the FBI is saying no, it's not terrorism. It was just a car accident. But of course, it begs the question: what's the FBI doing there then?
Well, it sounded, but it was supposedly was an explosion. Like,
yeah,
I mean, the likes of which.
Yeah, did you ever try to actually blow up a car like they do on the A-Team? You can't do it with just the standard equipment. You need a few options on there.
It reminds me of the this Dateline NBC thing when they were trying to show that some General Motors car would explode.
It was a truck. Yes, it was the GM, or was it Ford truck?
I think it was GM, but what they did was, and Dateline didn't tell anybody, was they put like a rocket in there.
Yeah, they put Estes rocket engines. They taped Estes rocket engines with an electrical igniter to show that they're prone to blow up when you put Estes rockets under the running boards. So. Which
should get me which actually in a way gets us to the Elon Musk suit against Media Matters, because basically the argument is going to be that the First Amendment or whatever only goes so far. You can't just do stuff like that, rig the whole deal, which is kind of what Media Matters did with the algorithms. But I guess we'll get to that later. But the analogous thing to that is what happened with General Motors and Dateline. So there you go. I have to recuse myself from talking about Dateline because of course you know that I was on Dateline once for 30 seconds. We've talked about that before. It's
have we?
We'll bring it up again shortly. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap.
There's poor Santa Claus stuck in a wheelchair attached to a Christmas tree. There's just something really, really wrong about this. And when they started doing this originally a couple of years back, pushing inclusivity and things into the holidays, because they never want you to stop thinking about exclusivity. It's not just about Pride Month. It's about every Pride Day, every Pride hour, every Pride moment. You must have Pride-based Christmases. How could Pride have anything to do with Christmas? It doesn't make any sense. This is not the first year that Target did trans nutcrackers, and it looks like some people buy them, but based on the reviews, they're pretty terrible quality. Disabled Santa had some bad reviews
Bruce
as well.
Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap, and so, I love Target because you see the glasses that I have. You can get 3 of these for $15, and of course they immediately become crooked on your face because they have no structural integrity. What do you expect for basically a $5 pair of glasses? But do they have to shove it in our face?
Well, I'm
it's
here.
Christmas.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Apparently, it's now Rainbow Friday.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, I mean,
now Rainbow Friday,
and I don't want to get into the fill in the blank jokes on trans nutcracker. Okay. I mean, or even talk about the sugar plum fairies to begin with, because we can't go there.
Actually, the trans nutcracker is what the underprivileged have to use to transition.
There, sure, of course. Anyway, let's turn quickly to this week was the 81st birthday of Joe Biden, and I mean, there's this picture that's going to become iconic, and it'll be. Did you see the picture of the Biden in the White House with the birthday cake with the 81 candles on it? It looks like
that it was on fire.
It looks like a GM truck that Dateline put a rocket on. I mean, you think the president is going to be consumed by it. It reminds me of what Yakov Smirnov would say over this. In my country, candles blow out you. So, I mean, how did they let that go? How did they let that picture get published?
It was the same person that said Bidenomics is a good idea.
I mean, it doesn't. Meantime, it doesn't look that good for Biden. David Axelrod saying it's 50-50 that that Biden will win. Ron Klain, remember we were talking last week about this story in Politico. This guy wanted Rahm to come back and manage the campaign, and he wanted Ron Klain to be a big guy too. And of course, Klain and Rahm don't get along with each other, but it doesn't matter. It's moot because Ron Klain is going to Airbnb. All right, so he's not going to be part of this. There's also, a lot of people are hanging their hat on the fact that Obama's job approval in 2011 was low. By the way, I got a lot of this stuff from the commentary podcast. I'm just plagiarizing right here. Obama's job approval was low, just like Biden's. However, in the polling head to head, Obama was beating everybody. That's not happening with Biden. He's losing to Trump, and everybody else he's losing even worse to. So,
well, when a political, when a political operative chooses to take a job at Airbnb rather than get on a campaign, it's very telling.
Oh yeah.
Here's a little thing. If you're like a campaign manager, you've got to win from time to time. It's like if you can't pull that guy across the line, you're not gonna.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it.
Nobody wants anything to do with the Biden campaign.
Apparently, there was a 3-page spread in People on Kamala Harris, so that's going to be a winner. It does not look good. All right, now we're going to get a chance for you to put your tinfoil hat on. So there, have they already released? Is Congressman Johnson already released the 44,000?
I don't know. I've heard that there's a way you can access a lot of stuff. You can get somebody pointed out you can go through police camera footage. I want to watch it. I want to binge. It started last Friday, according to Chris, our producer. But I got to watch the entire run of the series The Office, which I just started. I tried it before, and it was too painful. Maybe because I still was in an office environment and it was just too realistic or in a surreal way. And then, I want to watch all of The Crown, which we started watching. Are you watching The Crown? I have not watched The Crown. I have not watched The Crown.
At all, ever?
No, not at all, ever.
Oh, okay. All right. So are you planning on it at all?
I don't.
Can I give a spoiler?
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay. Well,
it's based on the royal family, right?
Oh yeah, and I eat it up.
It's all written down. It's already. If you know anything about the royal family, it's already there's no spoilers.
Right. It's out there. Well, they use a couple of devices, literary devices. I mean, they've got the ghost of Diana in this. Okay,
wow.
Yeah, the ghost of Diana talks to Prince Charles and Queen Elizabeth, and I bought.
Oh! They're talking now.
Oh yeah. Oh right, finally. Oh now, you know how it is after death. You look at it totally differently.
To Camilla? Is she talking to Camilla too? Or
she might in the second installment, second tranche of episodes, which are coming out in December. But
I still hate you.
Well, I mean, it was unfair because. Do you remember Young Frankenstein? Every time they said Frau Blocher and went, remember that? That's how what you want to do with Camilla, right? So
sure. Here's another question. Does she say, Charles? Yeah, that's right. That he isn't your kid. You can cut him. You can cut him out of the family.
So then maybe I'll watch the 44,000 hours from the. But so far, what we've seen won't change anybody's opinion of what actually happened that day. So yeah, go ahead and release it. I was just wondering if you haven't even bothered to look at it.
I figure if somebody finds something, we'll see it. And I'm sure there are dedicated people who are spending.
Oh no, I mean there are like 40. I think there's at least 1,000 Ray Epps clones that they're going to find in this as well. So. Did you see this story? This is one of those stories where I don't really read beyond the tweet because I've got a short attention span. But a Mississippi man was buried without his family's knowledge, but he had an ID in his pocket. They didn't check to see the ID so they could get in touch with the family. What if his cell phone all of a sudden went off while they were burying him? Did you notice that story?
I did not see this. I did not see this story.
That's fine. So we're both in the same boat. That's fine.
So how did they find out he had his ID on him? Did they exhume?
Good. Now you know the rest of the story, Paul Harvey. I mean, that's your natural curiosity. I didn't even care to find out how they found out about it. But yeah, apparently
somebody get a hold of his credit card. Some grave robber get hold of his credit card.
I don't know. He just remained one of those mysteries. Anyway, all right. So let's go back to the big tease they did before about Media Matters. So, I immediately when I thought that Elon Musk was going to, he said, file this thermonuclear lawsuit, and the first report I thought was, and you saw that Media Matters had tied some of the tweets that he has with ads that are supported by white supremacists and neo-Nazis.
Right. They kept on. They had a bunch of fake bot.
Well, before we get to that.
Oh, okay.
Before we get to that, I mean, so at first blush, it looks like, and then of course, the big sponsors withdraw. I mean, like Apple and I forgot who else, NBC, maybe, somebody else. They drop out. They don't want to advertise on X anymore because they think that what they're publishing on Twitter is adjacent to these neo-Nazi ads. And I saw that Musk was going to file this lawsuit, and I'm thinking, well, you're crazy, man, because they have a right to print what is true, Media Matters, and say, this is what we found. But as you will now tell us, the whole thing was fixed, right?
Yeah. That apparently Media Matters got some bot accounts, and they kept tampering with the algorithm until they could get a neo-Nazi post to show up alongside an Apple post. And then they took a screenshot and sent it to Apple and said, look what's going on Twitter. And it's the same thing they did to everyone. They would take one line that Rush Limbaugh said, and all of a sudden the show is nothing but racist rants for 3 hours a day. And
but I mean, what they did was they screwed around with the algorithms. I mean, it was like, fixing the slot machines or something. Or as Dan McLaughlin in National Review, and I recommend people read it because it's like reading a legal brief on it, only it's actually readable. He says, it would be like scientists doing an experiment where they, poured a gallon of water into a rat and its stomach exploded, and they'd say, "Oh, water is no good for rats, rat consumption." I mean, so if you bump the complaint by Elon Musk details how it's just absolutely ridiculous. This was not any normal or even subnormal user's experience with Twitter. You have to run this 1 billion times or something to get this combination. And there are safeguards against that happening. But if you want to blow it up somehow, you can make it look that way. But that's not any relation to the truth. And I actually got into a fight, I think, with an attorney on Twitter on this today, because I was saying this is BS. And I believe in the First Amendment. It should be quite elastic. And I'm not even sure that the was a Smartmatic lawsuit against Fox would win on the Supreme Court. But boy, this doesn't pass the smell test. This is like rigging that General Motors car on Dateline. I mean, it's just absolute garbage. And if you want to, the defense, of course, against this will be, well, this is true. This actually happened. You can actually see these. Well, no, it isn't true. And certainly it wasn't placed there by X. It was rigged by Media Matters. And it's just a bunch of garbage. And
according to Elon, he said that out of the millions and millions of images people get from X every day, that image was only shown once, and it was shown to the person who was looking for it.
Totally.
Trying to make it happen.
Yeah, it's masturbatory. Brucewolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the weekly wrap. Well, always get a kick out of it when SNL goes in the opposite direction. I mean, they made fun of women's sports right there with that video.
Kinda.
The tennis player. I don't know what shot we showed. Did we show the male tennis player blowing a hole through the woman's stomach? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Now but what I love is a spoiler alert here. The coup de grace is he then serves one which blows her head right off. And there's nothing so funny as a decapitation done right. SNL has actually done this before. In the last episode of SNL a few years ago, they did a parody of Good Will Hunting, and Fred Armisen was in this, and they show it was called Farewell, Mr. Bunting, and it's very touching and all this, in this old New England style college classroom, and then somebody stands up, to applaud the guy, and the ceiling fan decapitates him, and and then his head's flying all over the place, and there's blood, and it's, what can I say? It's a laugh riot.
There's nothing more than a slapstick with gore.
Oh yeah, it's great.
I noticed the CGI is a little off though, because even when she's in front of the black wall, there's still a head visible through the hole.
I myself have done this. I worked for Channel 32 for years, and we didn't have the CGI or graphics abilities, but I did a bit with the Chicago Wolves hockey team. It's a professional hockey team, minor league, and part of the bit was I was playing goal, and I had the mask on and everything, and the guy takes a slap shot and knocks my head off. And we show my head sliding across the ice, and I'm going, oh man, that was really some kind of shot there, It was just, and it's guaranteed to give you laughter.
Sure.
So
that's why the French Revolution was a scream.
Right. In other sports, fake sports. So there's this, what sideline reporters are in the NFL, these hot chicks.
Yeah.
Who basically say nothing. And
I know. Why can't we just watch the cheerleaders?
Give you nothing. Well, they're like the step between cheerleaders and actual journalists, if there is a halfway house there. Well, this woman, Charissa Thompson, who used to be a sideline reporter and now is, a fancy host of pre and post game on Prime, on Amazon Prime, admitted on a podcast. And Tim, how on these podcasts you don't think anybody's listening, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're saying things. So she admitted
I assume it's just the host talking with the co-host. That's
right.
And occasionally with the producer. But
right. She said that she made up coaches' comments during NFL sideline reports, like because the coach wouldn't be available, and she had to go on, and then she made something up, and then she tried to walk it back the next day and say, "Oh, I never attributed my reports to a coach. I would just say, that they needed to get more first downs or play tougher."
Sources tell me. I think that's the way CNN does it. An anonymous source.
Yeah,
claims,
right. I mean, she didn't even do no. But the thing was I think in the original broadcast, which she did with Aaron Andrews, who's like the number one sideline reporter of all time, she said some of her reports would say something like, "We've got to do better in the next half." Well, that implies that she got it from somebody, and but who knows? It's
so none of the coaches ever said, I didn't say that.
They didn't. They don't care. They're not even listening.
Yeah, that's exactly.
It was such pablum. It didn't even matter. It may have. It had that. It's like when Dan Rather did his report on George Bush. It could have been true, right? Okay, granted, it wasn't.
Well, actually, yeah. What was funny there is he said that the document has never been proven to be untrue.
You got to prove a negative. That's always a lot of fun.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Yeah, it's the
know,
defendant.
hey,
the defendant has never proven himself.
Look, all I know is that Media Matters stands behind Charissa Thompson, and that's the important thing. So, I was shocked. I saw that the Rolling Stones are actually planning on performing another tour, and they will be at Soldier Field on June the 27th, 2024. It's called the Hackney Diamonds Tour, sponsored by ARP. I mean, is that a joke? But anyway, they're going to this is true. They are going on tour. I mean, this is right, Chris. I mean, it is true. Yeah. Okay. So
that's the official Rolling Stones website that Chris has up for.
All right.
And that's the official ARP logo.
Okay. So,
right? Which makes sense. God bless him for admitting it.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I mean, Mick's 80 years old. We saw a video of him a couple of months ago where he's doing all kinds of dancing at age 80, you know, that Joe Biden couldn't have dreamed of doing when he was 60. But here's the thing.
Unless he's trying to stay on the stairs.
I did a parody, and I've mentioned this before, of Jumpin' Jack Flash called Dumpin' Norm Cash, about the White Sox, which a WXRT DJ actually gave to Mick Jagger during an interview for the Stones' farewell appearance at Soldier Field in 1978. And I was told that Mick was actually touched that he got it. I don't know. He actually listened to it, but we did give it to him, but it was in 78. So that's going to be like 46 years before
45
ago. So, but yeah, God bless the Stones for still going touring out there.
So how much longer before it's just going to be the Rolling Stone?
And then there was one. So when we're recording this on the 60th anniversary of the assassination of JFK, and if you're watching or listening to this at all over the weekend, it's really going to be stale because we barely have a tenuous link to it just by doing it today. It is the 60th anniversary, but Tim, you are our resident conspiracy theorist, so I would be so disappointed if I knew that you believed Oswald acted alone. Please don't tell me that you believe Oswald acted alone.
Oh, do you want to know what I believe?
Yes. Okay.
I believe that Oswald acted alone with the rifle from the book depository, fired 3 shots that went absolutely nowhere. The Secret Service men running behind the vehicle at the time heard the shots, reached for his gun. It misfired a couple times, doing the damage that we both know happened in the car. And everyone just went, oh, crap. And yes, there was a cover-up, but the cover-up was to protect the Secret Service agent's family and reputation for
wait a minute. I just want to make sure I understand this. What? The Secret Service, it was an accident, or they actually
it was an accident. He heard the gunfire from Oswald's rifle, reached for his pistol, and it misfired. and it actually came from the angle that everyone says that
and he actually killed Kennedy by accident.
And what's his name? Connolly, by accident.
Connolly. Yeah. It was a total accident. But Oswald actually was trying, and he missed.
He was trying, and he missed.
All right, look, I've been in the 5th floor.
He was a stormtrooper.
Okay, I've been in the 6th floor Texas Book Depository. I visited it, like 5 years ago. And the only thing that makes me question anything is, and a lot of people have said this, if you stand in that 6th floor window, there's a street that's coming right towards you, and then they have to make a turn right in front of the depository. But the best shot would have been on the street that they had come from, not when he's traveling away. And so why didn't that? And it was closer. Oswald could have shot earlier. And a lot of people, I don't know if they've ever explained
how museums have interactive exhibits, like go to the Museum of Science and Industry and goes, hey, can you drive this train? And it's like a mock-up of being an engineer in the train. I always thought they should do that at the book depository. They say, can you make this shot?
Oh, wouldn't that be fun? But proceeds go to charity. Anyway,
Kennedy Foundation.
60 years after President John F. Kennedy was assassinated, a recent Gallup poll showed 65% of U.S. adults think that Oswald worked with others in a conspiracy to plan and kill Kennedy, with 29% saying Oswald was solely responsible and acted alone. And 20% think it was you and me, and we'll be in Soldier Field June 27, 2024 to attest to that. But after all, it was you and me. Woo, woo, yeah. All right. So, one final thing here. Do you see where Coca-Cola is giving a lot of money to BLM? Have you seen this? Coca-Cola doing it?
Sure.
Okay, so, I mean, Don Draper from Mad Men, try to sell this BS? Giving money to BLM. That's all I got to say.
Well,
all right.
They're trying to claim the market share that Pepsi has there.
Oh, wonderful. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap, and now it's time, the holiday weekend. Let's kick back here for another edition of Wolf's World and Tim's Town. The rules of which I forget each time we're going to play it. So, Chris, why don't you tell us what it's all about?
Well, Bruce, we, as in me, I comb through Tim and your social media feed to find things that I find interesting, that I have a question about, or that I find humorous, and I think deserves a second laugh. I think that's the easiest way to put it.
Okay.
Yeah. And as we always do, we start with Bruce. This one,
yeah.
This one, I usually don't go for religious humor. I don't go for cute humor, but this one was actually good for on both of those. So, Bruce.
Okay.
They have these AI ballparks now that are popping up everywhere, right? It's on in my feed. They're there all the time. This was your joke on this one. Go ahead. So explain it.
Okay, so yeah, on Twitter I saw. So this, and you're telling me now. So they have these AI generated ballparks.
Yeah,
and this one is Noah's Ark. And it's really interesting. I mean, it reminds me a little bit of the LA Coliseum, where the Dodgers and the White Sox actually played a World Series, like it was 100 feet down one foul line and 8,000 yards down the other, I think. But this looks like a baseball stadium, right? Shaped like Noah's Ark, and it's set in the water. And my tweet for that was where it's always a 2-2 count. Hey-o!
I have to disagree with that, Bruce.
Oh, sure, of course.
Every game there was rained out.
Oh yeah.
Tag joke there. Got a double hit on that one.
Oh boy. Yeah, but that's so. Chris, you've seen some other AI generated ballparks. What do they look like?
They do. They try to do ones like in the scene. If it could seat 1 million people, have you seen those? If this ball
a stadium that seats 1 million,
you just build like a Dodger Stadium up to seat 1 million people.
Oh yeah,
they do. What if the mascot was played into where the setting was for the stadium, and they put it in some prairie land or something like that? It's
okay.
So yes,
right.
they're popping up all over the place. So maybe I'll send them to you.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
On the Tim's Town. Let me see what I got here. And Tim. I think I have to always state on this. Bruce is a volume poster.
Yeah.
Tim is very frugal in his posts. So some of these go back a hair because there's not a ton of them. But this was this one I thought was a good one. This was on to set it up around Juneteenth, I believe.
Oh dear.
And it was experts warn that if present trends continue, by 2035, we will run out of Mondays on which we can declare federal holidays.
Yeah.
I laughed at it.
Yeah, I like it.
It's only 52.
Yeah. So
only
I mean,
52. We probably have at least 20 called for already.
And that's probably going to be around the same time that Social Security is declared insolvent. So there'll probably be a payroll holiday on that day. So that's another one.
Or wouldn't they? Are they going to start merging like they did with President's Day? You don't get Lincoln doesn't get his own, and Washington doesn't get his own anymore. You get a President's Day. What would they merge together?
Well, they've merged Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day, but I don't think that's exactly what they were doing there.
Look, I know there are a lot of offices that get Super Bowl Monday off. Okay,
well, it kind of makes sense.
Which, of course, so you talk about February, right? Because that really is a national holiday. So,
and not only that, a lot of people should not be driving at 7 o'clock in the morning after a Super Bowl party, because they're probably still over the legal limit.
Yeah, no, I agree. That definitely should be yeah, I mean, it is truly I mean, Christmas has become a secular holiday, Charlie Brown. Oh yeah. But remember in 1965 when they started complaining that Charlie Brown was complaining that Christmas had been become commercialized. Yeah.
Brought to you by the Coca-Cola Company.
Sure.
That
now,
message.
which now, right.
And then it switched to Dolly Madison, and then.
Yeah, and Linus is protesting in support of the Palestinians, courtesy of BLM. But roll over Charles Schultz. So, yeah, that's a secular holiday right now, and I'm all for it as well. So it probably will be on the calendar at some time. Any other holidays you could think of, Monday holidays that we should have throughout the year? I mean, every month has holidays.
My question is which ones we can merge so we can start down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that government employees can give up 3-day weekends. Yeah, that'll happen. That'll happen, Bruce.
All right.
On to Wolf's World.
Sure.
And Bruce, you know I can never pass up an opportunity to talk about my favorite.
Oh yeah,
Jason Benetti. And this one, I think you prove my point when you say if only Jackie Mason, an old,
Jewish
comedian, Catskills comedian, would say, Jerry, he's funny. First of all, I don't think Jackie Mason would even say that. But then again, proving the point that all his references are so ancient and so arcane that only you.
Well, yeah, Jerry Reinsdorf once said of Ozzie Guillen that he was the Hispanic Jackie Mason. And I got to tell you, Jackie Mason was a cut above the typical Borscht Belt comedian. I actually saw him on Broadway. The first act was really funny. The second act wasn't much, but I mean, he was genuinely funny. But you're right that is a reference to an old comedian. Okay, I mean, somebody who actually flipped off Ed Sullivan can't be avant-garde. But yeah, so the story was that Jason Benetti, whom you can't stand, and not everybody, his appeal was not universal. I liked him. That one of the reasons that Benetti was let go by the White Sox was that Jerry Reinsdorf didn't like his broadcasting and didn't get what he was about. And I guess if you're a Jackie Mason fan, maybe you don't get Jason Benetti, but I like both of them. But I like everybody. I just like the good effort. But there was another thing about Benetti. Supposedly, did you see this? That Brooks Boyer, the head of broadcast operations for the White Sox, insulted Benetti at one point and said, like, a normal human would have said this to his face. A normal human wouldn't act like this, and Benetti never forgave him for it. Well, was Brooks Boyer making fun of the cerebral palsy that Jason Benetti has, or just his ego? And I don't think that was clear. Did you see that, Chris?
I did not see that.
Yeah.
Well, here's the problem. I mean, he tries not to play the cerebral
palsy
card.
No, you don't want to play.
Why would he be offended by that?
Are you saying that he was playing the brace card? Is that what you're saying? No. Right.
Oh, you got a double hit out of that one. Right.
Oh yeah. No, I don't. I like to think that he wasn't, and I'd like to think that Brooks Boyer wasn't talking about that either. But I don't know. We'll never know.
Okay.
All right, Timstown.
And this again, not a lot of volume, so we have to go back. This was around the Coke incident at the White House. So it's the joke is. It seems the video technician fired from Rikers after the Epstein debacle got a job installing cameras at the White House. Very solid. Very solid.
As we say in Latin, res ipsa loquitur, thing speaks for itself. I don't think I'm not going to ask Tim to explain his jokes.
Doesn't have to explain.
No, it's all there.
Right.
Like I said, some of these just deserve another laugh. It's so
Absolutely.
busting them up. All right, let's move on to Bruce. This one.
But you have to explain. I have to explain mine. That's the problem.
This one this doesn't deserve an explanation. This is another person I can't stand.
Okay.
So we get to throw something her way.
Sure.
I cannot believe this woman is got to be close to 60 years old, and she has no idea what rocks, paper, scissors is, or has never played it.
Oh, yeah.
Remember this, Bruce?
So this was recent. So somebody did a screenshot or showed a little video of the Channel 7 Eyewitness News, and Cheryl Burton, the newscastress there.
Yes,
and somebody asked me, newscastress? And I said, well, yeah, it's a female newscaster. Isn't that what you call a I mean, in French, I would think it would be le newscastress, which is interesting because le is the masculine. You'd think they have la, but the
some
French
of her outfits, though, I think newscastrix would be.
Well, I'm telling you, I have seen an outfit where there was, it looked like she was part desert animal. I don't want to.
She has one animal prints. She has
that retains a lot of water. Anyway, so she apparently had never played the game rock paper scissors, and didn't know anything about it. And I got to tell you, in the clip, she's really rather fetching and cute in her ignorance, almost like I would say ditzy in a nice way. But I tweeted, I wonder if she knew how to play tic-tac-toe. Too bad this woman didn't get to work with me. I would have protected her. Who knows? Maybe Mark Giangreco tried, but you wear down after a lifetime. That's Mark just the hell. I've made $1 million a year for 30 years. What do I care? So I got to get out of here. So
Bruce,
and we got to get out of here too. Or do we have one time for one more?
I don't know. I wanted your professional opinion on who was ditzier in the couple, Jim Rose or Cheryl. But
boy, that's a toss up. That's a boy. That's a.
I don't want to get you. I don't want to
ponder for next time. Happy Thanksgiving weekend, Tim. Hope the turkey's okay, and we'll talk soon. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap.
And that's the Weekly Wrap on radio and television. Follow Bruce at Bruce Wolf Shy on Twitter and Tim at timslagle.com. The Weekly Wrap with Bruce Wolf, a CP Pods production.